Hey, Coach Jody, and this is On the Couch 11. I'm always excited to chat with you about the things here on the couch. And today I'm again in a park in nature where I seem to be finding a little bit more clarity for myself too at times. So, On the Couch today is about I work really hard. Why am I not performing? And so, as recently as in this past week, I had a conversation with a cricketer about exactly this, where they say, I'm doing the hard work, right? I'm getting fit, I'm hitting balls, but come on the weekend, I'm just not performing. And so there's a couple of things at play here for me. The first is that when we hit balls a lot, or for bowlers, as a matter of fact, when you bowl a lot of balls, for bowlers it's maybe a little bit less true because they tend to be on workloads. But when you put in all this work, right, you get fit, you get strong, um, you feel like you're really preparing yourself as best as you can by spending a lot of time in the nets. The problem with that is it creates an expectation, right? And so as soon as you create that expectation, that moment you do that, you put pressure on yourself to perform. And I think for a lot of people, that pressure, that self-imposed pressure, being too hard on myself, as an example, it creates too much for performance to actually just naturally flow. The second thing that I think that is then a variable in that when you hit a lot of balls, say you hit a lot of balls in an astronet or in an indoor facility, and so you're doing all this work, fantastic, great, but it doesn't match the surface that you're going to play on. It doesn't match the bowlers that you're playing. You're hitting a lot of balls on a bowling machine, so woohoo, kudos to you, well done. But on Saturday, you're facing a guy that swings it, and there's a seam, and there's a wicket where it moves sideways. And so if you haven't prepared for that, then you won't be ready, and your performance will suffer because you're not mentally in the right space to actually go play in that environment, in those conditions. So yes, you've done work, fantastic, but you're not ready. Whenever I hear cricketers talk on TV, international cricketers talk on TV, and I think of how well they've prepared, and some of the conversations I've had with cricketers at that level, I'm always reminded of the fact that when they speak about preparation, they have that luxury of watching video footage of the opposition that they go play against. They have the luxury of knowing what surface they're going to play on. They're there 2 or 3 weeks before, 2 or 3 days before the time. They can look at the surface. They can see how the groundsman's preparing them. They can see how the color changes. They can try and learn how much moisture is in that wicket 2 or 3 days out before a game. And so they can take those 2 or 3 days for a match to actually prepare for what they are going to face over the next coming day or 5 days if it is that match for a test match. And so your ability to prepare yourself for what's to come is crucial to your performance on the day. And I don't think enough cricketers do that. I don't think enough coaches actually challenge their players in nets with scenarios and possible outcomes on the day to actually help players prepare best, or for you to even prepare to your best if you are not challenging yourself. And so if I think of club cricketers, right? So you go out, you have your club net on a Saturday. Maybe it's in dodgy nets, or school cricketers. It's not so great because the ground staff don't have that much time to actually prepare it. And then you come on Saturday, and Saturday or Sunday or on the weekend, depends on where you play. You play at an affluent club where there's a nice heavy roller that rolls that facility flat. So there you were in the week practicing in your dodgy facility. Saturday you come and you're batting on a flat wicket. Are you prepared for that? You might not be. And so you think, oh, it's flat. Yeah, runs, flash, nick, out, gone, cheers, day done. You got to duck off 3 balls. Well batted. And so the opposite is also true. You at an affluent club and you've got nice great nets, and the same counts on Saturday when you get to a club that's got some dodgy facilities, and all of a sudden you're out, and now you want to blame those facilities for not being up to scratch, and excuses are aplenty normally. But again, you haven't prepared properly. So that's point number 2, right? Prepare for what's to come. And so I think club cricketers and school cricketers have a unique challenge, and it's true for every cricketer that develops. Even the ones that are playing international cricket, they had the same challenge at the lower levels. It's to find ways to actually prepare yourself for anything on the weekend, like to really be prepared for any event, any circumstance to unfold, and to be able to be ready. That's why I always speak about having a flexible mindset. You know, and to that ability to get into your optimal state, which is in another video. The birds are beautiful, yeah. See, they agree with me. And so the last thing that I find with a lot of cricketers is that you go into the nets, right, and you are working really hard, but you might only be working hard on a certain part of your game or a certain period of your game. So every time you go into the nets, as an example, as a batter, you work on bowling, batting, and getting yourself in. So you leave really well, you play nice and straight, you get in, then the coach says, right, net done, out you go. And so cricketers often say, I get into the 20s and 30s, and I've got a video on that too. I'll also share the link below. But they only get into the 20s and 30s because you're only practicing getting to the 20s and 30s. You're actually not preparing and practicing for what's beyond that, or you're not understanding your personal processes of what do I do once I'm in and where do I go to with my innings going forward. And so taking the time to figure that out for yourself, it might be in nets, it might be on a piece of paper, it might be on your diary, it might be a voice note to yourself, it might be a conversation with a coach or maybe somebody like me, where we figure out for you, what do you do during certain parts of your game? How do you get yourself in? Once you're there, what do you do then? What do you do when you get to 50? What do you get to when you do to 75? When you get to 100, what do you do? And so if you figure out all those different stages for yourself, then I think the hard work you do will really count for something. But you can be in a net mindlessly hitting balls. You can be in a net mindlessly bowling balls. And therefore, there's no value to that. So for bowlers, figure out, how do you bowl your first spell? How do you bowl your first over? How do you bowl? How do you come back for your middle spell? How do you come back for your third spell in the day or in a 50 over? How do you bowl at the start, the middle, and at the back end? And you actually prepare for that. And you prepare for that against different batters. Now we're talking. Now you can step up your game where come Saturday, come Sunday, boom, I'm on it, because it doesn't matter what gets thrown at me. I've really prepared for every single event, for anything that comes my way. And if you can start doing that, so if you can start managing your expectations by understanding that not just because you've hit balls or you worked hard, it doesn't guarantee your performance. If you can start preparing better for anything that comes, and you can clearly define better your whole game from start to finish, I believe then your hard work, one, will serve its purpose, and two, your performances will improve without a doubt. Because your game is more well-rounded. It can suit different situations, and you know what to do at different stages, and you know what you're about at different stages. So yeah, there it is. If there was any value for you in this video, please feel free to share it. If there's anything you want to steal out of this video, you're more than welcome to do that, and tell your mates about it, and your friends about it, and your uncle and your aunt about it. Even share it with your coach if you think there's some value in here. Also, please like my Facebook page, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because there's definitely more videos coming. I will catch you next week on the couch again. Cheers, have a great day.